Hello everyone! In today's video, we'll create the backrooms in Blender. Let's get started. First of all, I'm going to delete the light and the cube and create a new one with Shift A, Mesh and Cube. In the Add Cube window, I'm gonna change the size to 3. This will be the height of our backrooms. I recommend you to go from 2.5 to 4. Next, you're gonna wanna move it up, and then to create the backrooms themselves, I'm going to go into edit mode by pressing tab and then choosing the face select mode, and this is the part where you create the backrooms itself. So for instance, you can move this face over here like this. You can also extrude faces so that you can make forks like this. Maybe this room will be bigger. You can also add loop cuts like this to add all rooms. So yeah, I'm gonna speed up the process so that you don't get bored. And so yeah, this is the finished result. You can also, for instance, raise the ceiling in some parts, like extruding it upwards, or I don't know, lower the floor. But I'm gonna leave it for now, leave these basic rooms. Now what you can also do is you can add a plinth. So I'm gonna make a loop cut down the horizontal line of the backrooms. I'm gonna lower it and make it 0.95 or 90, but I think it's too big, so I'm gonna leave it at 0.95. You can just hold Alt to select the loop that you just made by clicking on this edge. And so now you can press Alt E to extrude the faces and normals like this. I'm gonna make them in a little bit. I'm gonna put the value at 0.05, and the final step will be to flip the normals, because if I'm gonna show them, then all the normals inside the backrooms will be negative, but we don't really want that. So now I'm gonna press A to select all faces. I'm gonna go to Mesh, Normals, Flip. And now the normals are facing the correct way, which means that it's now time to move to texturing. So first of all, I'd recommend you to go to Preferences, Add-ons, and search for Node Wrangler. I already have it enabled, but you probably won't. So click this box right here, and now it's enabled. So yeah, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go to the Materials tab, make 3 materials. This one will be the walls. This one's gonna be the carpet material. And this is gonna be the ceiling. So yeah, for the walls, you're gonna go into the shading tab, drag and drop the wallpaper texture that I'm gonna link in the description, as well as other textures used in this video. So yeah, now just drag the color node right here into this. But it looks all stretched, so how can you fix it? You can go into the edit mode, select all faces, and press U, cube projection. So now I'm gonna make it smaller, for instance 0.5, like that. So yeah, now we have the walls texture, but what about the carpet and ceiling? And so this is where the Node Wrangler comes in. You're going to click on the Principled BSDF shader and press Ctrl Shift T. So now the selection window will pop up, and so you can just select both of these images and click Principled Texture Setup. And basically what it does is it does all the hard work for you, so that you can easily control every parameter of your material. But how do I apply it to the floor? Well, what you can do is you can go into edit mode and select all the bottom faces like this. And once you selected all of them, you can just click on the carpet material and click Assign. So now the floor will be assigned to the carpet material. But I think it's too small, so I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. In the mapping node, just lower the value to 0.5 for instance. But no, it's still too small. Or maybe even 0.1. Now it's too big, so I'm gonna make it 0.3. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the carpet texture. But now it's the ceiling texture time. Once again, you're gonna repeat the same steps as before by selecting the principal BSDF shader and pressing Ctrl-Shift-T. Now you're gonna select all the ceiling textures. Now you're just gonna select all of this and click the ceiling material and click assign. But the ceiling is now too small, so what should we do is you're gonna go to cube projection with the ceiling faces selected and then change the cube size to the size of how big you want your ceiling tiles to be. I recommend you to put a value from 0.5 to 1 meter. I'm gonna make it 0.75 like this, but it's still too small. What you should do is, because the texture is having 5 tiles, I'm gonna divide this value by 5, so it's gonna be 0.2. Now this is how it looks like. So yeah, I'm gonna rename it to the Backrooms, and it's time to move on to the lights. So I'm gonna create a mesh plane like this and make its size to be the size of the ceiling tile, so it's gonna be 0.75 like this. And now once again, just in case, I'm gonna check the face orientation, and yeah, it's red from the bottom, so I'm gonna click mesh, normals and flip. Now I'm gonna make a different material and I'll call it light. Then I'm going to click the principal BSDF shader and replace it with emission shader. But keep in mind that it only works in cycles, so I'm quickly going to change that to cycles. Now what you need to do is you need to make this beige-ish color, but don't go too saturated with it because it's gonna look pretty ugly. So I'm gonna keep the hue to 0.15, saturation to 0.5 maybe, and the strength is going to be 20. I mean, you can just fine tune it if you want, but I'm gonna leave it at 20. And now I'm going to raise it, and here in the Z value I'm going to type in 2.9999. So this is the closest you can get to ceiling without the lamp clipping with it. Of course, if you made the ceiling like 4 meters, you're gonna type 3 in there. If you made it like 1 meter, you're gonna put it like this. So now I'm gonna move it to the ceiling tile. I'm gonna align it correctly like this. But for now, I'd recommend you to move it 1 meter above the ceiling so that you can see where you put the lights. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna to the viewport overlays and change the grid scale to whatever size your ceiling tile is. So I'm gonna put it at 0.75 so that whenever I move with control, it snaps to the grid. And now I'm gonna make a new collection for the lights, named plane into a light, and move the light into the lights collection. And so here's the speed up process of me making the lights in the backrooms. The recommended distance of the lights will be 4 tiles because this is the standard for the distance between tiles. After all, it's your project, so you decide. Maybe leave some rooms dark, for instance, because after all, you kind of want to give this uncanny feel. So yeah, once you're done, just select all the lights, make the grid back to 1, and just move the lights back to where they were. If I'm gonna switch to render, I'm gonna see that this looks pretty much like the Backrooms. What I'm gonna recommend is fine-tuning some materials. For instance, in the walls, I'm gonna raise the roughness and the IOR factor to 10 or maybe 20, but I found 10 to be a good value, so that the walls don't look that shiny. In the carpet, I'm gonna raise the roughness factor, and in the ceiling, I'm also gonna raise the IOR by 5. Now you can just fine-tune the lights as you want. And yeah, I think that this looks pretty nice. So yeah, I hope I helped with this tutorial, and if you want me to cover the animation of the camera as well as its settings, then leave a comment. And yeah, thanks for watching and have a nice day.